everyone! Welcome to our mini Remo product demonstration, where I'll be taking you through all of the awesome features that can help transform your online events into engaging and interactive experiences that rival even an in-person event. This is Remo, a platform designed to humanize the online experience. As you can see, we've modeled it after what looks like a physical event space, with tables, a green room, and much more. A couple of things to note about the platform before we begin. Remo has two main modes. The first one is conversation mode, where guests can move freely around the space and engage in private conversations with the other people there. The second mode is presentation mode. This is the one where you can present to everyone in the event space all at once, like what you'd expect at a webinar, but with some interesting features to boost interaction that I'll show you in just a bit. So let's begin. When guests first enter your Remo event space, they're dropped on a table and shown as a circle or avatar. To help locate where you are, you can use our handy Where Am I button to quickly find yourself. At a Remo event, everyone can move freely around the space, just like at an in-person event. You can move tables by double-clicking on an empty seat as so. Now, each table functions as a private audio-video conversation, so I can switch on my camera and my microphone by clicking here and talking to the people at my table, just like if you were sat next to each other at a physical conference, but with the benefit of not having anyone else overhear our conversation. Hey everyone! You can also chat with people at the event using our chat functionality. You can choose to chat with everyone at the event, only those at your table currently, or any individual by selecting the appropriate level of chat. Going back to what you can do on your table, besides just speaking with them, you can also share your screen so others can also see what you're seeing. This way you can share presentations, a video, an online game, or really anything online. Another option to share content with others is to use the whiteboard. The whiteboard is essentially an advanced version of white chart paper that allows members of a table to collaborate with one another. So on the whiteboard, you can add lots of different things, like text, sticky notes, you can even embed media. Heck, you could even play Pictionary. The best part about whiteboards is that you can preload these before an event and they persist throughout. There are lots of things that you can do with a whiteboard, so check out our help article for more information. The link is in the description. Speaking of interacting and collaborating, you can't do that very well if you don't know who's at the event. So that's why we have a nifty participants list, so everyone can see who is currently present at the event and where they are. What's more, before starting a conversation, you can even learn a little more about the person through their virtual business card. Just click on a person's avatar. With Remo, every person has their own business card they can customize with their name, their position, their company, even links to their LinkedIn, Facebook, personal websites, and a meeting booking link, so you can schedule a meeting with someone straight away. Guests can fill out their business cards by editing their profile. Remember to save your changes. Super simple, right? Now that you know how guests can talk or engage with people in a Remo event, you may be wondering what extra things event hosts can do. Well, that's easy. There's a whole host of functionality. Get it? Okay. All jokes aside, let's dive into how hosts can run their events on Remo. Now, you already know how tables work, but did you know as a host you can actually rename them? That's right, you can rename tables however you want. They could be after ice-breaking topics, discussion questions, sponsor companies, you name it. You can even add in emojis for a little bit of fun. In addition to renaming tables, you can also lock tables that have at least one person on them. Locking a table prevents other non-event host users from joining it. You can even take it one step further by preventing users currently on the locked table from leaving. That's what we call lock movement, useful for workshop or group sessions when you want to actually prevent people from jumping around. We all know one of the best parts about any event is getting to meet and speak with new people, but that can be a bit more challenging at online events. On Remo, though, one of our goals is to encourage new connections. That's why guests are free to move around the space as they please. But we also built a special feature for hosts called Shuffle Guests. Shuffle Guests lets you mix all your guests onto new tables with a single click. Just select how many guests you want per table and click Start Shuffling. This gives your guests 30 seconds heads up before they move so they can wrap up their conversation. And once the 30 seconds are up, they're automatically moved to a new table so they can meet new people. This is a super handy feature for events where you want to maximize the number of connections people make. If you want to have multiple rounds of a shuffle, we recommend using our timer so your guests know how many shuffle rounds to expect and how long each round will last. If you're wondering how you can tell your guests about an upcoming shuffle, this next feature is it, the announcement feature. This is pretty similar to you picking up a microphone at a physical event and making an announcement to everyone. In Remo, just click on More, Announcement, and type in whatever it is you want to announce. Hosts typically use this to welcome guests at the beginning of an event, announce upcoming speakers or sessions, or even prompt users to take actions. Once you're done typing, click Announce Now and confirm. And ta-da! Your announcement will pop up on everyone's screen with the nice little ding sound to really grab everyone's attention. Another way to grab attention if you need to share more than just text is to use our content pop-up feature. This feature allows you to embed media and share it with everyone in the event. It could be a video announcement, an event survey, or even an online game. Just make sure the content can be embedded, and you can check this by viewing the preview before sharing it. Once you're ready, click Launch, and there you go. Content is shared to everyone in the event space. If you're looking for more of a permanent way to display content, you can also make use of our banners. These are special locations on the floor plan where you can display content, such as videos, images, or even text. These image banners are also clickable, so when you click on it, they're presented with a pop-up, kind of like an advertisement. You can place an image or a video within this, as well as a call to action that links guests out to a website. You can use these banners to display any content relevant to your event, whether it's highlighting who your sponsors are, sharing downloadable content, or even linking out to a donation platform. I'll take you through how you can set these up a little later in today's demo. Coming back to our bottom menu toolbar, it's time for the most important button as an event host, the Present button. Remember how I mentioned Remo has two main modes: Conversation mode, the one we've been talking about so far, where guests can move around and talk to each other, and Presentation mode, where you can present to everyone in the event space at once, like a webinar. This Present button acts as the gatekeeper between these two modes, allowing you to seamlessly switch between them when you need to. So when you're ready to start your presentation, all you need to do as an event host is click here, and choose whether you want to start now or in 30 seconds. Now, we generally recommend that event hosts use the Start in 30 seconds button to give their guests a little heads up and time to wrap up their current conversations. So now we're in presentation mode. So all guests are watching the same presentation. In presentation mode, you've still got all the features from conversation mode available, but let's go through a couple of the newer ones. First of all, the camera and microphone. When your cam and mic are off, you are not on stage, so no one can see or hear you. When your cam and mic are turned on, you are on stage and presenting to everyone in the event. Just like in conversation mode, you can also share your screen. Click Share and select a tab, window, or your entire screen. In addition to sharing your screen, you can also share videos directly into Remo, provided it's a YouTube, Vimeo, or Twitch video. Just click More, Share Video, and enter the link here. You can also choose whether to enable participant controls on the video. If enabled, this allows viewers to pause, fast forward, or rewind the video as they please. Once you're ready, click Play Now, and the video will automatically start playing on stage for everyone. Once the video is finished, you can remove it from the stage by clicking the Share Video button once again. Another way to share content is to use the Present Content button. This works the same way the content pop-up did in conversation mode, where you can embed content directly onto the presentation stage. Hosts typically use this to embed live presentation slides or simultaneous captions or translations. Before you click Share, remember to preview the content to make sure it looks as expected. Speaking of captions, Remo has inbuilt live English captioning. To enable this, guests have two options: They can use the Captions button in the bottom menu toolbar, or click the CC tab on the right-hand side panel for a side-by-side captioning. Closed captions are available as an add-on. You can check out our pricing page for more information. Now that we've talked about how you can present, let's explore some of the more engagement-centric features Remo's presentation mode has to offer. Starting with how you can have more people on stage with you. Let's face it, presenting by yourself can be a bit lonely. So on Remo, we've made it super simple to invite others up on stage. There are two ways someone can join the presentation stage. As you saw earlier, the first way is to just turn on your mic and cam. But this only works for event hosts and registered speakers at your event. Regular guests do not have these options when viewing a presentation. But don't worry, you can still invite regular guests up on stage by going to the participants list, finding the guest that you want to invite up, and clicking the speaker icon. Once you click that, the guest will receive a notification to join the stage. If they accept, they'll be able to turn on their mic and cam and join you as so. When you're ready to remove them from the stage, you can just click the speaker icon again, and that'll remove them from the stage. Besides physically bringing guests up on stage, there are other ways you can interact with your audience in presentation mode. My personal favorite is using polls. As a host, you can create and launch live polls for your guests to answer. They can be fun or educational. It's completely up to you. Not only polls, you can also create quizzes in Remo to test your audience's understanding of a given concept. The difference between a poll and a quiz has a right answer, whereas a poll doesn't. The best part, you can create polls and quizzes in conversation mode too. A great way to start events is finding out where in the world your guests are tuning in from. Another integral part of any event is the Q&A, and with Remo, it's a much easier and smoother process. Guests can enter their questions in the Q&A tab here. They can choose to ask this anonymously or not, which helps them feel more comfortable, especially at larger events. Guests can also upvote the questions they really want answered by clicking the arrow here. So as a presenter, you don't need to sift through the long list of questions to find the ones that people really want answered. That's all taken care of by your audience. As a host, you can also clear answered questions from the lists by checking them off, so you don't need to be confused about which question you have or haven't answered. Just to answer that question, yes, you can record presentations. Let me show you how. To record presentations, all you need to do is click the Start Recording button over here. This will record all video, audio, and shared screen streams while in presentation mode. After the event, you can download your recording and share this out with guests. Last but not least, once you're finished with your presentation, you can return back to conversation mode by, you guessed it, clicking the Present button again. And just like that, we're back in conversation mode, where guests are free to move about the event space and resume their small group conversations once again. Now that you know how to use Remo, let's explore how you can actually set up an event by taking a look at the event settings for this space. The first tab you see here covers all the basic details for your event. Starting with, is the event public or private? A public event means anyone with the link can join, whereas a private event means only people you include on the guest list can join your event. This is also where you can decide the event name, when you want the event to start and finish, and the event image. Next, the fun part, selecting the floor plan for your event. You can choose between our standard Remo floor plans as shown here, or you can create your very own custom one. By designing your own custom floor plan, you can tailor it to suit your specific event. Here are a few examples of other hosts' masterpieces. As you can see with the custom floor plan, you can change the colors to match your branding. You can adjust the table layouts. You could even have your guests sitting in the middle of a beach. It's completely up to you and your creativity. So check out our design guidelines on our Help Center, where you'll also be able to find some templates that you can work off of to get started. Coming back to our event settings, you can also input how many guests you're expecting. This will determine how many floors will be created in your event. Remember to add some buffer here because this number cannot be changed after an event has started. Next up is your invitations. You're making this awesome event, so surely you want some people to come. And here's where you can invite them. Invitations are split into speaker invitations and guest invitations. So let's start with the speakers. This is how you can grant someone with speaker permissions at your event. As a speaker, you can join and leave the stage freely in presentation mode, as you saw earlier. You can even join the event early, and you've got a special speaker avatar. Once on the speakers list, each speaker will receive a speaker invitation, which will include a link to the event. Speakers have to join the event using the same email address you've added here in order to have their speaker permissions once inside the event. Moving on to the guest invitations. To invite guests to your event, simply paste their email addresses here or upload a CSV. You can choose whether to send invitation and reminder emails to guests by using these options here. Then, click Add to Guest List. Once added to the guest list, their emails will populate here, so you can keep track of who you've invited and whether they've registered and eventually attended your event. Now, it's not necessary to use our guest invitations when running a public event on Remo. Guests that register through your event landing page directly will automatically appear on this guest list as well. However, if you're creating a private event on Remo, you must add all your guests onto this guest list here. Just like with the speakers, guests have to join the event using the same email address you've added here, so that Remo recognizes this guest should be allowed to join your private event. And with that, you have all the basic parts of your Remo event created. You can go ahead and save your event now, or let's dive into Remo's advanced settings to explore how you can further customize your event. Up first, event details. Besides the basic things like name and timings, you can also include an event tagline and description. You can also choose whether to include your event in Remo's event discovery section. This is where we display all Remo public events on our main website and a user's main dashboard. You can also select an event type and outcome for your event. This will help inform what features you use within your event and give you an idea of the type of events other hosts have created on Remo. Moving on to the onboarding of an event. Here is where you can enable an event lobby, sort of like an event waiting room. When enabled, before joining your actual event space, guests will be in a waiting room. So you, as the event host, can control who joins and when they join. You can also include a message here that guests can see while they're waiting. Speaking of joining your event, you can also include a friendly greeting for when they join by enabling your welcome message. The welcome message is a pop-up shown to guests when they first enter the event space. With the welcome message, you can customize the message guests see, as well as include an image or video. Next up, we've got floor content. This is where you can customize your billboards. These are special sections on your floor plan to display content. The left billboard allows you to embed a YouTube, Vimeo, or Twitch video, whereas the right billboard lets you display text, as so. Speaking of content, remember how I spoke about using banners to display different types of content? Well, you can set these up in the Sponsors tab. Click Add Sponsor to begin. It's very simple to set up. Just enter a name for your sponsor or content, upload a banner image. This is the image that will be displayed on the floor plan for users to click on. Then you can decide what to include in the sponsor advertisement display. This is the pop-up that guests see after clicking on the banner. You can include a video or an image. You can also decide whether you want to include a CTA button. So this is a button that links out to another website. And you can even decide the text to be displayed on that CTA button, as well as where the CTA leads to. Finally, decide on a location for your banner. This depends on the floor plan that you've selected for your event. And once you're done, make sure you save your banner. Up next, feature toggles. This is where you can decide which features you want to include in your event. With Remo, we want to give you as much flexibility over your events as possible. So here you can decide whether you want the following features or not by enabling or disabling the toggles. Then we've got the agenda. On this tab, you can set up your event's agenda. This will display the event agenda for guests to see as well, so they know what's coming up. It's super simple for you to set up. Just click Add New Item, enter a title, add how long this session will last for, add a description, and select a color. Click Save, and you've just created the first part of your agenda. One thing to note, your agenda items are based on your event start time. Now for one of our most requested features, pre-assigned tables. This is where you can pre-assign guests to land on specific tables when they first enter your event. Suppose you have designated table hosts. Help them out by having them land directly on their hosting table when they join. Or do you have a VIP guest? Have them land directly in your VIP lounge table. All you need to know is the email address of the guest that is attending and the table you want them to land on. So let's say we wanted our VIP guest to land on our VIP table, which is on floor 1, table 8. So I click on floor 1. I find my VIP guest in the guest list. This is the same guest list we saw in the invitations tab. So it includes everyone you've added already. And if it's a public event, anyone that's registered for your event as well. If you can't find them on the list, don't worry. You can add them quickly from here as well. Then I drag the email address onto table 8 as so. And just like that, my VIP guest is now assigned to table 8. So when he or she first joins my event, they are directly landing on floor 1, table 8. If you've made a mistake, you can also unassign individual guests by dragging their email addresses back into the list. You can unassign all guests from a table, or unassign all guests from a floor, or even the entire event. A few things to note about assigned tables. These are pre-assigned tables, meaning it only specifies the table a guest lands on when they first join the event. Also, the assigned guest must use the same email address as you've included on the guest list, so Remo knows that they've been assigned a table. Finally, once the assigned guest leaves their assigned table, their seat is now released for others to use. Moving on to the last step in our event setup, which is the stream section. This is where you can connect your YouTube account to your Remo event and stream your presentation straight to YouTube Live. And last but not least, the post-event tab. This is where you can see all of your event's data and analytics, such as your average guest rating if it's available, your full event analytics dashboard, which includes metrics such as your attendance rate, attendance over time, how long guests spent with their microphone and cameras on, and much, much more. You can also download your guest list, questions from your Q&A section, and your event recordings if you have them. Well, that's all for the mini Remo product demonstration. Hope you had fun learning about the possibilities of creating events on Remo. And if you're interested, you can speak with our team today. Just head on over to remo.co to get started. Happy hosting!